evening.
Hi, good evening. Good evening,
Great
everyone.
to see you, Mel.
Good to see you. Good to see everybody.
Hi, Johnny.
Hey, hi, good evening.
Welcome to this webinar on growing our coaching business. While we have that introduction, I would like you to type in where are you joining from so that I can see names from different parts around the globe. So please put it in the chat box so that we can know where you're joining us from. So yet another great topic on marketing, growing your coaching business. We have a real marketing expert with us who is going to take us through this session. And as you know, one of the competencies which ICF has not covered is how to get clients. And that becomes the most important competency for a professional coach like us. So if we can't get our clients, then where do we use all the other competencies? So keeping this in mind, last year, we in ICF Chennai chapter thought that we will run a series of webinar focusing on marketing and growing our coaching business. And in line with that, today we are having this program. We have two real experts, Mel joining us from Melbourne. Welcome, Mel. And Maverick from Malaysia. Okay, welcome again. So before we go into the session, I would like to share a few key instructions. This session is covered under 1.5 Resource Development CCU, and CCU's certificates will be issued to participants who join at the starting and stay with us till the end. To ensure this process, we share a password with you somewhere between 5th and 10th minute of the session, and that's an opening passcode, and then a closing passcode will be shared just before closing the session. Okay, with these few words, I would request Vijay to step in and share a few words before we start the session. Vijay, over to you.
Hey, good evening and good morning, good afternoon, depending on wherever you're logging on from the world. It's amazing. Within 3 minutes of the session start, we have 60 people. I was just remarking in the backstage that, we had like about 20 people even before the session started, I think about 7-8 minutes. I think that certainly says there's something that's buzzing here, that's bringing everyone here, including myself. But before I wear my participant hat, grab my coffee and enjoy the session, just want to share a few thoughts. This webinar is our first webinar from our Grow L&D webinar series. And, we at ICF Chennai are very proud of this particular franchise. And we ensure that we bring learning and expertise and opportunities for coaches to grow holistically from the inside and from the outside. And I think this one is going to be a little bit of the latter. And what better way to start off this month of jubilant January than with a double bonanza, right? We have a master marketer and we have a master coach, and both their names begin with M. Obviously, we planned this, right? But, it's like really, really exciting. And we're going to talk mastery, we're going to talk marketing. And of course, the topic is to grow your coaching business. So, I was just, before we started, just chatting about this, saying irrespective, and this is my observation as a coach and a speaker myself, that irrespective of what topic we run a webinar on, whether it's competencies, whether it's skills, whether it's something in between, there'll always be a coach. There'll always be a question thrown at the end saying, how can I grow my coaching business? So sometimes I feel it all, bottom lines there. And so I know we've done a lot of sessions in this subject last year, but hey, we can definitely do with more. And before I hand back to Natarajan, I want to say when I reached out to Mel sometime last year, and quite some time back last year, and we've been chatting about this program because Mel and Maverick had run this program for ICF Indonesia, if I'm not mistaken, and we got to know about it, and so we kind of booked this. And I must say, Maverick and Mel have been like so generous and immediately accepted to come in and kick off our new year with their session for the Grow L&D webinar series. So thank you so much, Mel, and thank you so much, Maverick. Mel, of course, is an old supporter of the chapter. Mel's session in the ICF India Conclave 2021 still has great reviews and many views. If you've not checked that out, you must go and check it. So on that note, back over to you, Natarajan, for detailed introductions about our masterful speakers who are here today.
Thank you, Vijay. Thank you for those beautiful words. Let me take the privilege of welcoming and introducing Mel. Mel is not new to ICF Chennai. He was part of our conclave last year. Mel is an ICF MCC, a stakeholder-centered coach, and a master NLP practitioner. He coaches C-suite executives, senior leaders, and the team from different cultures and nationalities all across the globe. He partners with executive leaders and coaches to break free from their default mode to live the brave life they desire. Mel is also an ICF assessor and mentor, speaker and author of the book Engage. His mission is to equip 10,000 coaches who will in turn impact 10 million people over the next 20 years. Wow, what a great vision, Mel. Nice to have you here and welcome you. And I would request you to introduce your partner today who will be running this session. Over to you,
Thank you,
Mel.
Natarajan. Thank you so much. And want to give a big shout out also to Vijay and to everyone who is a member of ICF Chennai, as well as from different parts of the world. I do see a couple of people from different parts of the world, some very familiar faces. So whoever that is out there, this wave is for you. So let's just wave at each other. I think it's just beautiful that we can connect once again at the start of this new year, but the end of January. Can you imagine it? It's already the end of month one. I can't imagine it, actually, to be frank with you. I was just talking to someone yesterday and I'm like, oh my gosh, we're already in month 2 of this new year. It's been flying so fast. But without further ado, I just want to very quickly jump into the main cause of this banquet, which is my friend, my good buddy from, I don't know, 10 years ago or more, Maverick Foo. He is the Maverick, and I guess, you've probably seen the movie Maverick now. It's launched. It's about his life. And, I met Maverick quite a, different scenarios, but one of the scenarios, and maybe I will say it instead of him saying it, he often says this, is he often says that I kind of cornered him and had a car breakdown, and then after that wanting to have Indian food. Actually, it's true. This is a real story. So if you ever have a chance, you can ask him for the real part of the story. I'll tell my part of the story, which is the car breakdown was real, but I actually just wanted to have Indian food and he was around. So, Mav is an amazing event organizer, consultant, trainer, and of course, a marketing guru, I would call him. He makes things easy. The thing that I'm very, very impressed about him and the work that he represents is that he makes the complex simple. So I believe in this 1+ hour, you will get something out, hopefully in the most basic way that tomorrow you can start doing. How many of you want that? Yeah? Okay, beautiful. We're gonna see lots of action. As coaches, we know we work with our wonderful coaches to get them into action. But today, it's us getting ourselves into action. Okay, and so without further ado, I'm gonna pass this time. Will you please give a warm welcome to Maverick Foo?
Hey, hello, everyone. Okay, so this is one of my, because I did another session for another coaching federation in India as well last year. So yeah, so this is like my second time, having so many Indians in the Zoom room, which is great. So because Indians tend to speak fast, and I tend to speak fast as well. So for those of you who complain that, hey, Maverick speaks a bit too fast, my suggestion, listen faster. So you can't get me to slow down. So you have to listen a bit faster. But the good thing is that I think the organizers have a recording of this. So, feel free to go back and re-listen to it. Okay, good. Now, so I do notice some of you have switched on your camera, which is great. Now, here's the thing, because even though I'm not a coach, I do have a lot of training sessions online with some participants, and I just hate it when they don't switch on their camera, right? And I know coaches and I complain about it as well. So with that, I shall lay upon a curse right now. If you do not switch on your camera for the next 90 minutes, for the next 90 days, all your coaching sessions online will be done without the participants switching on their camera. So I think that's fair. It's a matter of respect as well, right? So yes. Okay, good. Okay, unless you're driving or something, then please don't do that. Please be safe. But I think this is just a great way to get some interaction going as well. Okay, good. If you're ready to go, all good. What will happen is that if you want the slides after this, I'll be more than happy to do it, to give you a copy. The best thing you can have right now is that if you have a pencil or paper, I'm old school as well, 41 this year. So taking notes, because when you write kinesthetically, you actually remember a lot better. Yes, Sunanda, please drive safely. Good. Okay, so mine is spotlighted. So if you just need to spotlight my video, so it's a lot easier for you to see the slides. And let's go. Now, let's make it a bit interactive over here, because that's what Mel has mentioned. I work with trainers, coaches, speakers, among other businesses, service-based businesses, for the last 21 years. So Dr. John Maxwell, Dr. Philip Kotler, some international speakers, and of course, Coach Mel as well, and also local coaches and speakers. So young, yes, thanks, Mark. Okay, so maybe you can just type in the chat. I know some of you here are not coaches, but those of you who are coaches, perhaps you can type in the chat, like, what do you coach on? Like, what topic? Is it leadership? Is it relationship? Is it, I don't know, team, career, life? Because then I can at least give you some examples or case studies of coaches in those niches. Okay, so Sunil leadership. Hey, hi Sunil. Okay, career leadership, group coaching. Good, very smart of you, Marie, to do group coaching. Life. Hey, Sheila, startups. Sheila Anand, if you can just connect with me on LinkedIn as well. The rest of you, yes, but I kind of want to meet more people who are actually in the business and startup space. Strengths coaching. Wow, innovation, performance. Mark, metaphysics, good. Winston, career, yes. Okay, great. So I see some leadership coaches, career. Okay, good. So probably I can give you some examples on that. And also because, so sometimes organizers will ask, would you take Q&A anytime, or would you want to reserve towards the end? So my take is this. My memory fails me. I think sometimes as we grow older, memory fails us as well. So if you have any question, you can type it in the chat. If it is relevant, I will answer it on the spot. Because I don't want you to, oh, you know what, I'll ask Maverick later, and then you forget. And then for the next 1 month, you couldn't sleep, and then that affects your coaching performance. And then you have to wait for the next time I speak and then ask me the question. It's not worth it. So I think the moment you have any question, you can just pop it in the chat. If it is relevant, I will answer it. And I think the organizers or even Mel will pick up on those questions as well and remind me if I missed it. Okay, good. Life, executive coaching, career, great, awesome. So that is what you do one-to-one coaching for. Great, for children, wow. Now, let me ask you the second question. Of all the professions in the world that you can make a hell lot more money, why coaching? Why do you coach? Because you can obviously do so many other things, right? So why do you coach? Okay, it's a simple question. You don't have to go for a 30-day retreat to answer why do you coach. Satisfy the hunger for my soul. Passion, Johnny, good. Hey, fulfillment, that's a very good answer. To help people. Sunanda, yeah, I think a lot of times once we are the recipient of coaching, we want to kind of pay it back as well, pay it forward. Mel, it's just interesting that a few of them actually talk about fulfillment, which is a word that I don't, I'll be honest, I don't get a lot. Mano, I think I'm good listener. Go use my internal resources, right? Okay, good. So at least all of you are very aligned on why you do what you do. Now, the reason why I asked these two questions is actually quite simple because, I'm a business consultant, so we are very direct, very pragmatic. Why do you coach? Why you pick those topics? It's probably because you find that there's some form of profitability to it, or maybe you like it as well. So you profit from your passion. Now, why do you coach? It's because there's some form of magic that you get. It's like a feeling that the moment you see your clients break through and you know you are part of that journey, it gives you some form of satisfaction. So the way I look at it, if you repeatedly do this, what do you coach? Why do you coach? You work on your money, you work on your magic. If you continue to work on your money, over time, you become masterful, like how Mel is an MCC right now. I think all of you are on the way to hit MCC. Now, on the magic part, if you repeatedly do what you do, there's a very high chance that you will find clients come to you a lot easier. At the starting, I think all of us have a rough start. Mel will probably share with you his story on how he gets started as well. But over time, as you build your magic, that's how you suddenly become more magnetic. You start attracting people. And when these two things come together, I realize you get momentum. You get clients after clients, you get them retaining. And then before you know it, yeah, you're on the ball. Now, so the proper question that I kind of want you to kind of walk away with tonight, something deep for you to think about is, what are you currently doing to create momentum? Because momentum takes some time. You need to push the boulder up the rock first, so up the hill first. So what are you currently doing to create momentum? And the second is that for those of you who already have the momentum going, how can you sustain it? Because I don't know about you, but in these parts of Southeast Asia, we keep on talking about recession, stagflation, and all these different, it sounds like it's going to be a hard year moving forward. So those of you who haven't started your momentum yet, you need to start thinking about how to create it, okay? Because you will need momentum moving forward. And those of you who are already on the roll, then the next question is, how can you sustain it? Okay. On this, Mel, do you have anything that you want to add on this as well? Because you are from a coaching point of view, because sustaining, repeatedly getting clients, keeping the momentum, I realize it's actually one challenge that a lot of coaches actually have. Maybe something you can add on?
Yeah, sure, man. I think about when you say that, my marketing days. Before I was a coach, I was a marketeer. And to me, churning out marketing plans every year, it can get into a certain dread because, again, your customers are your customers already. So what you want to do is you want to get into the other zones that you are perhaps not reaching out to them. So when I became a coach, I started to realize that I myself am a brand. And I started to realize that I needed to get myself out, not just out there, but out there with the other M, I think, would be message for me. What's the message that I am representing? Because if I don't focus on that message, then, I may be in this whole flood of, lots of other coaches out there, and how can I stand out from them? So one funny thing, Mav, just to laugh, is I often now say, I've been in Melbourne for like 14 years now. So I easily just say, hi, I'm Mel from Melbourne. So that connects with people's minds, right? It's like, oh, Mel from Melbourne, Coach Mel, MCC, another M from Melbourne, simple, right? So those are just little things that help me connect with the people. And I think that the last bit of it is that whole sustainability. And I think I don't think about that too deeply, but more importantly is are there things that is repeatable? That means there is a certain process that you do in the year end or start end that you do as part of your marketing, right? For example, do you give sort of an opening year gift to someone? That gift could be in the form of a physical book to someone. That gift can be in the form of a video recording to someone. What is that little gift are you giving out to kind of build into that sustainable process that you have? And Mav's going to take you through that anyway. So over to you, man.
Okay, thank you. So that's why Mel cannot fall asleep, because out of the blue, I'll just throw him under the bus and he's supposed to answer a question or to give a keynote, right? Yeah. So, but you know what? He'll do the same thing to me anyway. So, so one part of me that some of you may want to know, I used to be a Buddhist monk for 3 years. So a Theravadan monk. So perhaps in a very distant future, I may go back to Sri Lanka, and perhaps that's where you can basically come and ask me to create a marketing plan in a temple somewhere. Yeah, so probably that would be the place. So yeah, so I do believe in karma. So Mel will probably throw me under the bus before the next hour. Okay, now, so over at Authority Institute, we do have a couple of frameworks, and I know some coaches over here, you have a couple of frameworks as well. So tonight, the framework that we will kind of borrow from is called the HELM framework, HELM, because it stands for 4 things. It's holistic, it's empathetic, it's leverageable, and it's measurable. Because when it comes to business, everything must be measurable. And some of you, I realize that you are business coaches as well. You realize that these 12 items over here, they are common functions or common departments in a company. So you have HR, you have marketing departments, you have branding departments. So these are the core 12 functions, regardless how large the organization is. And what we do is that we call these foundational functions, because without any of these functions, the big companies would definitely collapse. But a lot of times we don't know how to measure. So that's why we come up with all these 6 areas over here: revenue, employee satisfaction, brand value, productivity, market positioning, and margins. And this is what we call the performance pillars. And of course, if you, some of you, I know you have taken an MBA before or a degree. Obviously, I cannot summarize 4 years of a degree in 90 minutes. So what I will do is that in the short time that we have, let's focus on this part called revenue. So what does HELM stand for? Holistic, empathetic, leverageable, measurable. Okay, so HELM. If you text me on LinkedIn, I'll give you the answers as well. Now, so I myself, Authority Institute is my 9th business. And for the last 20 odd years, I've been working with business owners, SMEs, and corporates as well, not on top of coaches. And a lot of times I realize business owners and entrepreneurs like you all of you are visionaries. Because think about it, not everyone can see the vision that you see. The metaphor that I like to use is that it's like you can see the mountain. Everybody can see the mountain, but you saw the mountaintop. You realize that, hey, you can see the vision a lot clearer than anybody else. That's why you took the leap of faith and to become a coach. Okay. Oh, by the way, on this note, can I know how many of you are full-time coaches? If you're full-time coaches, can you just type F? If you are a part-time coach, just type P. Full-time coach, Marie. Okay, obviously you're doing group coaching, right? So definitely you're a full-time coach. Yes. Full, part-time, awesome. Full. Hey, Andreas, good to see you. Yeah, so full and part. So those of you who are doing part-time, I'm pretty sure you are in transition to go towards full-time. And those of you who are full-time, sometimes we will say that you are the crazy ones because you basically took the leap of faith to start something that is scary. Now, a lot of times you can see the vision, and not just you, all entrepreneurs can see the vision. But what we lack sometimes is we cannot see the path. So in this short time that we have, how can I basically show you a pathway, a road that can help you reach the top? So if you can just quickly type in the chat as well to make the session a bit more objective driven for myself and Mel, what's one thing that you want to achieve from this session? Because if you come here to learn how to make chapati, you will definitely be disappointed. But if you come here to learn how to afford more chapatis, yes, that could be something I can help you with. So just type quickly in the chat, what's one area that can help you with? More clients. Okay, good. Business development, interesting. Sunil, find one small and easy thing to do. Okay. Add one person on LinkedIn every day. That's a very small one thing that you can do. Client generation online. Mark, how to charge higher? Wow. Okay. Now that's very specific. How do you create a brand? Rachana, I'll be covering a bit about positioning, but branding is a very huge topic. So probably, VG, that's another area that you want to get someone to come in. As a brand expert, I'm better at marketing than at branding. So, today the structure is on market, the framework is on marketing as well. How to get more clients, right? Okay, good. So I think all of us are pretty much on the right track. The reason why 75 of you are actually in this room right now, I think because you are looking for some ideas. Okay, the promise of the ideas is that you want to get some form of improvement in your coaching business. Okay, it's all about growing. But truth be told, you and I know ideas never bring you improvement if there's no implementation. Okay, so that's why where Authority Institute come in this short session that we have, is that how can we multiply the implementation so that we can actually help you achieve results a lot faster. 3 things. How can we enhance your results? How can we save your time so that you don't make the mistakes? And lastly, how can you replicate the success? So just now we talk about how to sustain your momentum. It involves a lot of replicating what you are doing well and do it again and again. So just a quick introduction about Authority Institute, what we do in 90 seconds. We help business owners and entrepreneurs like you to do 3 things. We help you monetize your underutilized resources. We help you strategize your new profits so that you can become the authority of your industry. And we do this by having large-scale events prior to COVID or webinars like this. And we also have a resort that's my business partner over there, Datuk James, where we will bring business owners on a monthly basis out to do some retreats, because we realize that anytime when we bring a business owner out of their area of comfort, suddenly they get new ideas. I think that's the whole reason why we do retreats, right? So that's the reason and our objective had always been simple. We want to help our clients build businesses that can last 100 years. Now, some of you may ask, is this impossible? Maverick, you may not even live until 100 years. But the way I look at it, other businesses have done it before. I think India, Tata Group, all these are brands that have been around for more than 100 years. Success always leaves a trail. If someone has done it before, which means you can do it again. And these companies have gone through at least 7 recessions. So I'm pretty sure whatever the tried and tested strategies that they use, we can always apply in our business as well. Why we focus so much on business has always been simple, because when your business grows, you can pay your employees better. They become happy family members. They become better fathers, better mothers. Maybe they become better neighbors, better drivers, and ultimately they become better people in general. So that's why out of the 17 UN SD goals, we at Authority Institute, we align ourselves with 3. Whatever we do is to help eliminate poverty whenever we can, to give quality education, which is what we're doing right now. And also number 8, if you can walk away today with one idea that immediately change the trajectory of your business, you will have helped us achieve SDG number 8, which is decent work and economic growth. So a bit background about myself. I have a community building background. Some of you may be familiar with the brand Mind Valley. So Vishen Lakiani is an old friend and also a co-founder. We started a few projects together many, many years ago. And then I've also done a couple of community building events on the other end. So Kickstart talks about success. This other event called F Up Nights, I don't want to swear, but it's the actual word, F Up Nights. They was an event that I co-started in Malaysia as well. And then after that, I've always been very in touch with the startup scene. And then after that, I've been interviewed by radio, and of course, I've been on TEDx twice. Now, let's go into what you want, because as I go through what you have written just now, a lot of you said that you want more clients, okay, which is very good. Because one thing that you have practiced better than, I guess, 95% of coaches out there is that you actually begin with the end in mind. Because it's a lot easier when you know what's the end outcome that you want. If you were to come to me and say that, oh, Maverick, I just want to become better. Better is not measurable. But I say I want to get more clients. Now, it would be great if you can say you want to get 5, 6, 10 more clients at the end of the month. So perhaps make it more specific. But so Stephen Covey mentioned this. I think most of you have read this book before, Begin with the End in Mind. So if let's say all of us mutually agree that we want to get more clients, so we put it on the map and then we start planning backwards. Now start thinking, some of you have clients before. Okay, you already have clients right now. Before your clients become clients, chances are they are prospects. Okay, prospect means that, hey, Mamata, I heard that you do coaching. I could be interested in coaching as well. Can we meet up for coffee? Or perhaps, Horace, can you send me a quotation? Can you send me a brochure? So they have indicated interest, and how you sell and how you close them, you make them into a client. Okay, so that's good. Prospect to become a client. Now, if you were to backtrack again, if I were to ask you all the clients that you have right now, VG, all the clients that you have right now, Mel, who were they? Most of the time, they were strangers first, people that you don't know. So strangers become prospects, prospects become clients, a very simple customer journey. Now, most of the time, let's look at this box over here because this addresses the sales question. Whenever we have someone who's interested in our coaching, okay, it could be like Marie, your group coaching as well. Chances are you meet them either virtual or face-to-face. Maybe you present a bit on how your coaching framework works. And after that, maybe you give them a proposal or something. Now, why do we do all this? You do all this because you know if you do any of these three or all of it, there's a very high chance that you can convert a prospect into a client. Okay. Now, so these are like your SOPs. Eternally, you know what to do the moment someone is interested in coaching. Now, let's just backtrack again, because the process of turning a stranger into a prospect is a marketing process. Now, what do we normally do? So sometimes we rely on referrals, word of mouth. So sometimes you do advertisement. Let's get on the radio show and start talking about my coaching services. Some of you may be old school like me. You use cold call to some of your corporate clients. Some of you may do some social media posting. I know some of you are very active on social media. Some of you have even tried paid ads before. Now, here's the thing. You can't go to your friend and ask for a referral all the time. Okay, so this it's a bit unfair for them. It's like, let's say, for example, if I were to go to Sanjay, hey, Sanjay, do you have any clients for me to recommend? Oh, don't have, is it? Okay, you know what? I'm going to ask you next week again. Now, after a while, Sanjay is not going to talk to me anymore. Okay, so you can't rely on using referrals all the time. Now, mass media, to be honest, is good for branding, but it's not so good for marketing. Okay, it's good for marketing still because it helps the branding part, but the objective is actually to more towards brand than marketing. And then cold call, I don't know about how things are in India, but most of the time, if I get a phone call and the number is unknown. Now, let me ask you guys as well. If how many of you, if you receive, your phone rings and the number that comes out is an unknown number, how many of you will pick up the phone? Reject. How many of you will pick up the phone? No. Hey, what if the person is a prospect? What if the person is recommended by Mel? Yes. Oh, Sheila, you pick up the phone? Good. Okay. Okay, the rest of you ignore. Okay, the truth be told, there are a lot of scam cases. I'm pretty sure there are a lot of scam cases in India, just like how they are in Malaysia as well. Because of that, there are certain fears of people picking up the phone. Now, because of that, that's why cold calling may not work anymore. Now, social media will work if you were one of the early adopters. Okay, like for example, if you're the first few on TikTok, if you're the first few on LinkedIn, you have a higher chance because right now, the moment social media get flooded, you'll be drowned out as well. Okay, so social media may not work sometimes. And the last part will be paid ads. Those of you who have run ads before or paid ads before, you will realize that year on year, your cost to acquire a lead gets more and more. Okay, so those of you who have run paid ads before, you're like, hey, 2019, I only pay like $1 to get a lead, but now I have to pay like 5 or 10. It's getting higher and higher because, believe it or not, Mark Zuckerberg have to get richer and richer, right? So the truth now is that all these methods over here may not guarantee that it will bring a stranger into a prospect. Because if you look at the psychology of a stranger, it is not a straight line. for a stranger to become a prospect, they will, kind of go around. Let me just Google it a bit. Let me just YouTube what coaching really is. I heard this Coach Mel is really awesome, but I don't know who the heck it is. Let me just listen to his podcast first. So that stranger will go all over the place. And if you are lucky, that stranger would chance upon your office or chance upon you and become your prospect. But you cannot operate business based on luck. Business requires some form of predictability. You cannot just, God, Buddha, Jesus, if you can give me 5 prospects today, I'll be very happy. Okay, praying works really well in the temple, but praying may not work as well in business. Okay, so we have to make some form of predictability as well. Yes, powerful insights, but we haven't reached there yet. Okay, now, if we were to take one step deeper and start analyzing this group of people called strangers. Now, they are our potential prospects, but before they become your prospect, they are strangers. And chances are they will ask you questions like this. Now, how many of you have gotten questions like this in your coaching career before? Type yes in the chat. How many of you got any one of these questions before? Like, does coaching really work? Really? Who are you certified with, Andreas? Got discount or not? Okay, in Malaysia, we like to ask for discount. I'm pretty sure in India, they would like to ask for discount as well. Kind of all the questions, right? Sunil, especially the last one. Hey, Kanan, how are you different from Mel? He also coach, you also coach. What's the difference? Okay, and you are Mel's friend. You cannot say that, oh, Mel sucks because you are Mel's friend. But at the same time, you want the deal, right? So how can you address all those questions now? But if you go one step deeper and you start asking yourself, why are strangers asking all these questions? Some of you may even think, hey, some of these questions are kind of stupid, right? Okay, how can I give you a trial session? So the reason why the stranger will ask questions like this is because of a lack of trust. Think about it. Someone that really trusted you, perhaps your ex-colleague or your friend from high school, or perhaps someone that you worked with before, they will not ask you questions like this. Their questions will be a lot more precise, like what are the frameworks that you use, what method you're certified in, stuff like this. But they won't ask you questions like this because you have already earned the trust. So if you think about it properly, how you can basically get a stranger to become a prospect, you need to start focusing on trust. Now, chances are some of you already start thinking, so Maverick, how do I build trust with the mass market? So on social media, for example, lucky for us, in 2011, Google asked the same question as well, 11 years ago. The question that they asked was this: how can businesses build enough trust to get even the coldest stranger, someone who has never heard of you, someone who has never heard of coaching, someone who has never heard of ICF, to be interested? Okay, to be interested. Trust is half of job done in coaching. Yes, correct. Now, so the result of this is ZMOT, the zero moment of truth. So what I'm going to do is that I'll give you a link. Please just save the link. You don't have to go to the link right now. So you can have something, because there are tons and tons of case studies that Google has done on this particular topic over here. But because I love all of you, I've already summarized it. So I basically summarize it to 3 things that you need to watch out for. But please still read the actual case study because it will be very useful. Now, according to Google, if you want to build trust with a total stranger, there are 3 numbers that you need to look out for. Number 1, they must have seen you in at least 4 locations. Now, what are locations first? Okay, your LinkedIn profile, that's a location. Your website, if they met you face-to-face. Let's say they met you at a networking event. Hey, hi, VG. Oh, this is how you look like, VG. Okay, and then after that, you go onto a phone call. That is already 2 locations, face-to-face and then a phone call. So minimum, they must have interacted with you at 4 different places. Okay, perhaps they go to your YouTube channel like Mel. Obviously, he has already hit more than 4. He has he has a podcast. So that one is on Spotify, 1 location. He has a website. He has LinkedIn profile. I believe he has Instagram as well. And then after that, he has email list, and then and his ICF membership, that's another one. So the more locations, the better. 4 is minimum. Okay, 4 is minimum. Now, if you are clear what locations are, can you type L in the chat? If you're clear on what locations are, tag out in the chat, then I can move on to the next number. Okay, pretty easy to understand. So networking events, even Zoom like this is considered a location as well. Okay, now the second thing is, according to Google, at these 4 locations, you must have interacted with them. Okay, we call them touch points, but I will simplify it for you 11 times. So touch points could be, let's say, for example, I sent 10 messages to Ramya. Okay, I sent 10 messages to Ramya. Ramya replied 3. Okay, so I can consider Ramya has interacted at least 3 times with me, 3 touch points. Now, Ramya may or may not have seen the other 7 because I don't know, but I can count on the engagement part. So 11 touch points. So let's say, for example, Valentine's Day is coming up. So you send a message to the client. Okay, of course, you don't tell the client that you love them, but just, you know, a message of love, stuff like this. And if you want to decide to take it to the next level, you take out your camera, and let's say Mel is a client. I will say, hey, Mel, happy Valentine's Day to you. You may be lonely, you don't have someone loving you, but you know what? Maverick always loves you. Now, if you send a simple message like this over to your client or your prospect or even your friend, and the moment they reply, that is already a touch point. Now, if you were to just send a simple greeting card, they may not reply to you. Okay, so you need to start thinking in the interaction that you have with your prospect and your clients, how can you get them to respond to you? Because that counts as a touch point. If they just receive the message and they don't do anything about it, I won't call that a touch point. Okay, so for me, I make it a practice. Mel, he got a video message from me as well on Christmas. Okay, so everyone, New Year, Chinese New Year, Deepavali, I will send a video just like the one I did just now, and there's no automation. I would shoot the video one by one. Okay, one by one, because think about it, it takes me lesser than 15 seconds to shoot the video. Are you guys telling me that your clients are not worth 15 seconds? If you can't even afford to spend 15 seconds to send a personalized video to your prospect or your client, you could be in the wrong industry, because coaching is a service people business. And if you can't even spend 15 seconds, come on. Okay, that's tough. Okay, so a good thing to do is that, let's say on Facebook, you saw one of your friends is having a birthday tomorrow. Instead of just sending a birthday message, send a video. You'll be surprised. So one of the insurance agents that I work with in Malaysia, he always had issues securing appointments. Okay, selling insurance is not easy. So after listening to what I said, he decided to shoot 9 videos, because it so happened that day he has 9 friends, 9 prospects that were celebrating birthday. Out of the 9 people that he sent the personal videos to, he got 9 appointments, 100%. Okay, so it's something worth. It doesn't cost you money as well. It's just it's personalized. Okay, now some of you already start thinking, Maverick, is there some automation tool? No. If you are thinking about that, I invite you to think this question as well. Your prospects will probably be asking, do I really need a coach? Maybe there's an automation tool for coaching as well. I don't need coaches anymore. Okay, so please give some form of humanization factor into your service. Okay, so yes, gold nugget, please do this, some easy. If you want to build your muscle, just start by doing 3 a day. And you know what? Send it to the relative that you hate anyway. So even if your relative don't reply you, it's fine. Okay, just send it to the but if your auntie replied to you, well, you have been a good nephew. So yeah, good for you. Okay, so touch points, always look for ways to get people to interact with you. Now, the last part will be over 4 locations, over 11 touch points. You must have accumulated 7 hours of interaction with them. Okay, don't forget, we are still trying to build trust over here. You have not gotten a client, you have not gotten a prospect yet. You are just building the trust with them. So this is based on data, 4 locations, 11 touch points, 7 hours of interaction. Now, 7 hours of interaction doesn't mean that I ask you to sit down. Like for example, Rachana, can you just sit down and I'll talk non-stop for 7 hours? Now, that's not going to work. Okay, 7 hours can be accumulated. So for example, if Rachana did a Facebook Live or LinkedIn Live every Thursday, let's say 8 to 9 o'clock. Okay, every Thursday without miss, Rachana would do a Facebook Live. If let's say I don't know who Rachana is, but by watching and following the Facebook Live, after 7 times of watching, I will have accumulated the 7 hours as well. Okay, so this is how, this is the reason why in India, I'm pretty sure there are some speakers or some trainers or some coaches or some gurus that will invite you to a free session, a free one-day training. Let me show you how to build your business, blah, 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 for free or very low price. Why? Why one day? Because one day has 7 hours. When you entered the room, I don't know who the heck he is. But by the end of 5 o'clock, yes, I already spent 7 hours. There's already 11 touch points. There's more or less a 4 hour. They are accelerating the trust process without you knowing. Now, some of you already started thinking, what if I can do that to my potential prospects? Yes, if once a month, you can conduct some free training or some free coaching sessions and you invite your potential prospects to come at maybe perhaps a very minimum cost, you would have accumulated this 4, 11, 7 with them. Okay, now let's just take a quick pause over here first. Mel, perhaps there's something that you want to add while I take a sip of water.
Isn't that wow factor that Mav has just shared? If it is, wow, just give him a high 10, like that. Whoa, it's good, it's coming. This is the start. I mean, Mav's got so much to share. For me, when I think about what he shares, and I love being in his presence, because every time he shares something, a new insight comes to me. I'm not joking. Every time
Really?
Mav shares something, I'm getting new stuff. That's why I'm also typing on the side. I'm also working. I'm like, shit, Mel, you forgot about this. Do it. And it reminds me about this, Mav. It reminds me about why I'm putting these hours on the 100 Master Coaches show. Obviously, I had the time when it was locked down, because the 100 Master Coaches show, if you've not been exposed to this, I interview MCCs from around the world. And of course, my dear friend Vijay has been on the show before. And this came because I had a lot of time during the lockdown in Melbourne, right? Longest lockdown in history, right? So I was thinking myself, what do I do with my time? Now, let me just say this. We can all get busy now since all this lockdown stuff are over. Let me just say that, right? We're all busy people, I'm sure. But the thing that it taught me during this lockdown is that time, you can pause time and make time, and like what Mav said, like shoot a personalized video for 15 seconds, and that will go a long way. Obviously, do it with the right intention and the right heart, of course, because people like all of us can see it when it's not genuine, correct? So like for me, when I started this, it was also part of giving back to the community in the ICF. That's why I'm giving this 100 interviews free. But what it is also, on hindsight, when I think about it now, is that my face, even though I don't talk much, my face is out there in a lot of media. And to be frank, no one actually knows this. I'm actually an introvert. I don't know whether you know that, but I'll just say that I'm an introvert coach. I prefer to recharge, and who's like me, recharge, go to a quiet place, get my energy back, and then go out there and push myself out there to be out there, because it's tiring. But you know what? In the comfort of my home, I record this, and this 2-hour thing that I do every time has gotten so much more, how do I say, so much more blessing back, if I can say that, in so many different ways. I've connected with so many people just because of putting myself out there as an introvert with a one-on-one interview. And that's why it's a one-on-one interview. I don't do live interviews because I'm just fearful of all these people asking me questions. That's the reason. Okay. I'll pass you back to Mav. Have you had enough liquids? Over to you.
Yes. Thanks, man. Yes. Okay. So those of you who don't know what Mel, so the podcast is a good example. Okay. So let's take Mel as an example. So he has a podcast, okay, where he interview 100 MCCs, for example. So that is already on Spotify. So that's one location. Now, what he can do is that during each of the podcast episode, he'll say that, hey, if you want to kind of like listen to the previous interviews that we had, this is the link you should go to. So the moment they go to another link, let's say his website, it's already 2 locations. And then when they click on something, those are all little touch points already. Think about it. All it takes is for someone to listen to 7 interviews, because each of his interviews roughly about an hour. He would have accumulated the 7 hours. Now, did Mel personally, kind of racked up the 7 hours? Not really. He only did the job once. He only recorded it once. He put it on YouTube. Anytime someone watched even 10 minutes of it, he's not doing anything anymore. The work is already done. So that's why creating content is something that's so, because you never know, 3 years down the road, someone would still be watching or listening to Mel's interview that was done 3-4 years ago. Okay. So, and I noticed some of you are introverts. I am one as well, to be honest. Now, some of you may want to compete. Maverick, are you sure you're an introvert? I can go on 30 days silent retreats and I enjoy myself. Okay. So some of you like, oh, 30, no, I think 30 minutes is going to be hard, man. I'm a coach. Okay. So that's how introverted I am. But I also realize it's something trained. Vipassana, yes, correct. Vipassana meditation, yes. Now, I have something to say. Okay, those who are extroverts, I cannot speak on your behalf because I'm not an extrovert. But I realize that introverted coaches or trainers or people in general, you are more thoughtful. Okay, you're more thoughtful, you're more reflective, you are more insightful. Because whatever you want to say, you will probably think about it 5 or 6 times before you say it. That means you're a lot more careful as well. My advice, don't let analysis paralysis cause you from saying that thing because you already thought about it 5 times. Okay, and will you satisfy everyone? No. Okay, but if out of 100 people, maybe 1 person just don't like it, it's fine. Think about the other 99. Because I think you have already spent enough time and mental energy to warrant their attention, the 99. So especially for introverts, I can say the same for the extroverts. Okay, they are deep thinkers, right? Yes. Okay, now, so I've already given you this insight, but if you realize, I haven't really solved your problem. Your problem was to get a stranger to become a prospect. Now, how can we use Google's insight to make it this unpredictable system? How can we make it predictable? Okay, so that's what we're going to do right now. So if you have a blank sheet of paper, this is probably something that's the most important right now. Whatever stuff you've written from Mel, you can put it aside. Those are equally as important, but this is something that probably is the halfway that I promise you. Now, the first thing you need to do, you know you cannot shortcut a stranger all the way to a prospect. As a matter of fact, the only shortcut I can think of is a referral. But you can't think of you can't basically get a referral by asking all the time, right? So which means you need to move from a stranger to make them an audience first. Now, what is an audience? Okay, let's say, for example, you are on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn. You are on LinkedIn, and then suddenly you saw my post. You kind of liked it, and you decided to like, and you decided to follow me. Now, from that moment onwards, you are part of my audience because anytime when I post something, because you subscribe to it, you are following me, there's a very high chance that you will receive that content as well. Okay, so which means that, so if let's say some of you, as you are walking along the streets, and what some of the street peddlers or some of the business owners, hey, come and have a look at this. The moment you stop and you go and have a look at whatever the business owner promised you, you have become an audience. If I decided to stand out to kind of like run across Chennai topless and everyone is looking at me, that is also an audience as well. Okay, not for the right reasons, but it doesn't stop me from becoming to be the center of attraction. So that's the definition of an audience. Now, the thing with the audience is that we must always remember what is something that we want to stick in their mind. So like just now, when I asked you what type of coaches are you, like some of you are leadership coaches, some of you are career coaches, how can you make sure that when they think about you, okay, Mel, can't remember his last name, he's a career coach. If they can just stick that career coach next to your name, then they will remember you. Now, that is your objective. So if you realize that your target markets don't really know you or don't really know your company, some of you already have a coaching business, what you need is you need a brand booster. And one simple way of creating a brand booster is that you need to create something that sticks in people's mind. So one of the business partners that I have earlier, Dr. Billy Quack, is from Singapore. So he coaches and he trains as well. Now, so Dr. Billy, he's already a very established trainer in Singapore. So, and he is actually, so we wanted to roll out a train the trainer program. I know some of you are trainers as well. So TTT, train the trainer. So we were finding it hard. How can we position him? Because he is not a trainer, because he trains other trainers. So he's a master trainer. But thinking about it, he actually trains other master trainers as well. So he's someone who trained master trainers in Singapore Airlines, for example, one of his clients. Then we were thinking, okay, do we come up with a corny name like Grand Master Trainer? The moment we say it, we all agree that sounds really stupid, because Grandmaster, I think there's a limit to what kind of name you can put in. So we were thinking for a while, what is the proper headline, a message for him? And then we realized we bring it down to simple. So whenever we introduce Dr. Billy, we will say that, oh, Dr. Billy, he's just a trainer, but he trained trainers and master trainers. And that's how we introduce him moving forward. Hey, please meet Dr. Billy. He is a trainer that trained trainers and master trainers as well. He's a trainer that trained master trainers. So that was how a very simple message, a few words longer, a very simple message have managed to make him stand out and stick in people's minds. So the Masterclass Train the Trainer program, that was me like almost 12 years ago. So when we were doing even our NLP certification programs, back then, we were among some of the companies who managed to build, I think at one point we had 80 over people in one certification program. Just because the message was clear, they were able to differentiate Dr. Billy from all the other trainers that were out there. Of course, we did other stuff as well, but that simple message as well is something that we play again and again in the market's mind until it sticks. Until today, people, yeah, Dr. Billy, right? Yeah, you're the trainer that trained trainers, right? And master trainers, because we want them to stick in their mind. Okay, so the objective over here to create a brand booster is to move from foreign to familiar. Now, foreign means that, oh, I don't know who you are, Rahul, I never heard about you and stuff like this. How can you make yourself a familiar face, a familiar name, a familiar concept even for them? Okay, foreign to familiar. So the moment I talk about, okay, let's do a quick test. Simon Sinek. Okay, the moment I mention Simon Sinek's name, can you type in the chat what is something that comes to your mind? Yes, start with why. Yes, he's a leadership coach as well. It starts, yes, the 3 circles. The 3 mutated nipples that he drew on the TED Talk. 1 circle, 1 circle, 1 circle, and start with why. Now, is that profound on any level? Not really, because probably someone had told you before. Your parents got hey, do things must got purpose one. Cannot simply do things. What's your why? Why you're doing this? Your parents probably gave you that advice earlier than anyone else. But Simon Sinek probably stole it from your parents. But he make it simple enough that it sticks. Okay, that it sticks. So same thing with also Mark Sanborn. So Mark Sanborn was another speaker that I marketed before. First book didn't do very well. But I think it was the second or third book, The Fret Factor. So you can go and check out The Fret Factor. It's a book that really shot him to stardom. Mark Sanborn, right? Mel, correct me if I get his spelling wrong. Yeah. So he is known as the Fret Factor guy, even though he has written so many other books. And your favorite, Robin Sharma. Robin Sharma, the monk who sold his Ferrari. Okay, he has written a couple of books after that. He has written some books before that, but it was the monk who sold the Ferrari that really got people thinking. It's a long book title, if you ask me. And I was the monk who bought his Ferrari. Just kidding. Okay, so that's how he made a very simple message stick in people's mind. Now, how for yourself, instead of just saying you're a leadership coach, what is 2 or 3 extra words you can throw into your introduction that can make people remember you? Okay, so that's something for you to think about. Now, once you already built an audience, the next thing you need to do is that you need to get their contact details. Now, believe it or not, getting someone's phone number is a sign of trust. Would you give anyone your phone number like a total stranger? You won't, because there is a certain amount of trust that the person have built, cultivated with you. That's why you willingly give your phone number or your email address. So look at your LinkedIn friends, your LinkedIn connections, your Facebook friends, your Instagram followers. One way for you to gauge your trust level with your audience is to ask them, hey, I have this little, I have this little ebook over here. If you want this ebook, can you just give me your email address? And then after that, I'll give you the email it to you. A simple tactic like this would have demonstrated how much trust you have accumulated with your friends. Believe it or not, there are still some people that may not give you the phone number or the email address yet. It's just because you haven't given them something that they want. Now, something I invite you to start thinking. So let's say you're in the jungle and you want to attract the rabbit. Oh, so happened this year is the year of the rabbit for Chinese as well. Okay, so you have two options. One is either you chase after the rabbit, or two, you attract the rabbit. Now, type in the chat, which one is easier? Is it easier to chase after the rabbit, or is it easier to attract the rabbit? A or B? Oh, someone actually chase is easy. Whoever said chase is easier, you are a fast runner. Okay. The rest of you say it's a lot easier for you to attract. Okay. So now you need to start thinking. Like some of you say that you are career coaches. Okay, good. Now imagine if you can create a simple ebook. It doesn't have to be like 100 pages, maybe just 5 pages. Okay. How to style up your LinkedIn profile so that you'll be headhunted by your dream company. Just a simple checklist. You must have this and stuff like this. Now, when you go to your friends and say that, hey, I just have this checklist on how to style up your profile and guarantee you can get a promotion within the next 3 to 6 months. Okay, do you want me to send you a copy or not? Now, that will attract people. Okay, that will attract the people that wants a career shift. Now, you need to start thinking from the point of view of your future customer. What is their carrot? What is their carrot? Because it's very hard for you to chase after your prospect. If your prospect is like Mel, and Mel is fit as hell, hey, that rhymes. So it's very hard for you to run after a prospect like Mel. You'll get tired, okay? But if I know that Mel wants to get more audiences for his podcast episodes, I can go, hey, Mel, I actually have this little book that can help you to promote your podcast onto multiple platforms at the same time. Would you want me to send you the book? Now, there's a very high chance that he will say yes, because I know what he wants. Same thing when it comes to coaching as well. Now, talking to coaches is easier because a lot of times you are quite clear on what your clients want. I think some of you have gotten clients that don't know what they want. You will have a really hard time coaching them, correct? Okay, but if your clients is very precise, I want to do this by when, you realize, wow, this one is my dream client. It's a lot easier. So you need to start thinking, what does your target market wants as well? So if, let's say, you have a lot of social media connections, Instagram, YouTube, all over the place, but you don't have their contact details, the simplest way for you, what you need to do is you need to create some form of lead generators. Okay, so one of my clients, Peter Yong, based in Malaysia. So during the pandemic, he came to me and he said that, hey, Maverick, we all are in a lockdown right now. I don't know, man, because he is a video producer. The moment he don't produce videos, he won't have money. And all his clients asked him to stop producing videos because it's under a lockdown anyway. You can't go out and shoot. So he was asking me, hey, Maverick, can you think about what I can do, to make some money, huh? So I decided to look through his Facebook and his YouTube. And I realized that combined, he had about 20 to 30,000 audiences. And I realized that a lot of them were asking him, hey, Peter, since you are the finance guy, right? What are some stocks or shares I can buy? Can you tell me or not? So I told him, hey, you know what? Why not you run a simple webinar? Okay, create a simple post like this, post it on your social media. So this one happened on the 7th of April. So without any advertisement. So he got about 100 comments. And what we do is that we set up a very simple landing page on Eventbrite for him. Those people who actually commented on this post, we just ask them, hey, if you want to learn how to profit from this market, please register for the webinar. So when they register for the webinar, he will have gotten the phone number and the email address ready. It's a sign of trust. And believe it or not, in less than 3 hours, his webinar sold out. His Zoom room couldn't pack any more people anymore. So we decided to do another one the following day. within 3 hours, the webinar got sold out as well. As a matter of fact, in the short span of 7 to 17 April, just 10 days, he has filled up a couple of webinars and he signed on 13 new clients. Now, these 13 clients were just sitting on YouTube and Facebook. He just need to basically generate the leads, and that's how the sale actually happened. And yeah, so that is as, if you look at it, out of the 28, there are a total of 28 different lead generators out there, ebooks. Mel has an ebook as well, and then he has a podcast and all that. Now, for what Peter did, he used just one of the lead generators, which is a webinar. So for example, when you come to this event, you fill up a Zoom registration form, right? So that's how VG and the ICF Chennai chapter will have gotten your details ready. Now, you kind of willingly give up your phone number and email address. Why? Because you're going to attend this session by Coach Mel and myself. Okay, so there was an exchange of trust. So you need to start asking yourself as a coach, what is something that you can get to move people, your audience, from ignoring you to inquiring? Okay, so for example, whenever you do some posting, they're just not commenting and stuff like this. How can you shift them to a position of inquiring and say that, hey, Mel, I noticed you have the ebook that day. Can I have a copy or not? Now, the moment your audience start inquiring, it is a very simple gauge, a very simple test of trust. Mel, maybe something you can add on, because I think you have built a couple of lead generators for yourself as well. What is the one that's working the best for you right now?
Wow, I was thinking along the line, instead of that, is if there's an idea that you're testing for yourself, just test it with some people first, give it out to some people, and then see the response. And I think, sometimes the fact of there's just so many things that we can do. My advice is just to choose one thing. It's like what Matt is saying with Peter. Peter just chose one thing and did it again and again and again. So you just need to choose one thing. If it's ebook you want to focus on, ask yourself, what are, like, for example, if your target is leaders, right, in companies, what are the 7 biggest issues that leaders are facing today, for example, right? And then ask yourself if you could give 7 strategies that could answer the 7 challenges that they're facing today. So the ebook could be 7 strategies to be an effective leader in 2023 or something like that. Yeah. So that's just a little thought about how you can think on behalf of this context, because the context wants something. They don't want coaching. Can I say this? I know this is ICF Chennai session. They don't ever buy coaching. Serious. They buy the benefit that come with what we do as coaches, right? And that benefit is very key. If you can understand the benefit, like if you ask me what is the benefit from the coaching that I do with my clients, is I help my clients become braver leaders. Simple as that. So brave leaders would want to connect with Coach Mel, because after they connect with Coach Mel, they become braver leaders. That's it. It's very simple, right? And if they want something from there, they can read my book called Engage. And in chapter 9, there is Engage Your Brave. So it's simple as that there is a connection with everything that I choose to do, so that becomes a part of, from your how you want to start calling yourself as the brand booster, whatever you call yourself. Let's say it's a name for yourself, and then from there the connection piece that needs to be aligned. If it's not aligned and we're just shooting in different directions, that's not going to give the whole holistic story. Mav?
Hey, thanks, Mel. Always appreciate your, I think that's just one, I think where Mel is coming from is that how can you start thinking from their point of view? So if you use a piece of chicken meat, thinking that you attract the rabbit, it ain't going to work. Okay, carrot probably have a higher chance. So a live example, this I just did last week, actually, 5 days ago. So we wanted to test whether will people want to come to a one-day marketing hackathon. So frankly, I don't know, because I would think it's a good idea, but the market is ultimately the test. So I decided to put a simple poll. I got 24 votes. And coincidentally, just now as Mel was talking, I actually sent them to a form. So the form is actually here. So I built up a very simple landing page. And I only built the landing page after I asked the question, send the people over. And that's how I got 24 people's email addresses and numbers as well. Yeah, so from LinkedIn, I realized that I had 9,700 followers. I realized I don't have some of their phone numbers. I did a simple poll. And after that, from the poll, I basically pushed them to the website. As simple as that, without running any ads. Because like what Mel mentioned earlier, a lot of times we need to start testing our audiences first. If they are not even willing to give you the phone number, forget about a check, forget about $1. They are never going to buy your stuff if you haven't even built enough trust to get the phone number from them yet. Okay. Now, okay, good. So once you already accumulated a couple of contact numbers, the next thing you need to do is that you will realize not all the contact numbers that you accumulate can be your potential clients. Okay, there are some clients that some people that, I think I don't want this client. Okay, so what we need to do right now is to do a very simple kindergarten test. Okay, so I'm going to show you a couple of objects. The question is very simple. How will you sort them? Okay, type in the chat. How would you sort these objects? Okay, Sastri by shape. Good. Shape, color. What else? Categories, categorize. Okay, good. That's color. Size. Yes, someone mentioned size. Yes. Okay, all of you passed kindergarten. So the next time when your client asks you, hey, can I know why I should hire you? Well, I know how to sort shapes. I know how to sort objects. Okay, so that's one credibility piece and approved by Maverick as well. Yes, that's true. Because how would you sort these objects? Yes, you can sort them by shapes. You can sort them by color, or you can sort them by sizes. You're all right. Now, my question to you is that for all the contact numbers that you have, do you have a proper way to sort them? So like, for example, some of you are career coaches. Okay, good. Career coaches means that someone who's probably an employee, they want to become a manager, for example. So what you need to do is that you need to stop talking to business owners because their definition of career is different. I just want more money. I don't want a career. You need to start qualifying people based on their profession. So those of you who say that you want to coach career on the topic of career, the first question is that are they an employee first? Okay, they must tick that box. And second, do they even want to get promoted? Do they want to get better in their career? If they don't tick these two boxes, they are just your contacts. They are not your potentials. You probably have nothing to sell to them at the present moment until there is a need. If let's say there's no need, people will never buy from you. So that's actually one thing that I did with Great Eastern. When I started working with them in 2019, one of the issues that they have was that their agents were very good at selling, but they are not very good at generating leads from social media. So we created a framework for them. So some of you may know what an MDRT is. An MDRT is someone who have achieved $1 million and they sit on the round table. That's why it's called $1 Million Round Table. So when I started working with them in 2019, they have 149 MDRTs. 2020, in the year of COVID, the number actually almost doubled to 286. And then after that, in 2021, it actually jumped almost 5 times to 714. And as of last year, we kind of dropped a bit to 678. Now, what is one thing that I did with them was I asked them to start categorizing who are your best clients. Go through your existing client list and pull together who are your best clients. Let's say there's 30 of them, and start asking yourself, who are these 30 people? They are manufacturers, okay? And they also have a team of more than 10. Now, that will train them to say that, okay, anytime when you go out and do any form of prospecting, please look for clients who are manufacturers, who have a team of at least 10 people. So with that alone, of course, they've done other stuff as well, have actually helped them become more focused. so their database become more focused as well. They don't spend time with those people who don't fulfill the criteria. They only spend time with those people who fulfill the criteria. How they advertise, they start advertising with manufacturing associations as well, because they know these are the clients. Let me go there and sponsor lunch for them. And indirectly, they actually get their visibility. So that's how you can get a bit smarter in the process. Look back at your top 20, 30 best clients and what is the common denominator. No clients are accidental. Your client became your client through some divine intervention, but there's probably some criteria that your client ticked off. That's how you became their coach. Now, how can you use that data to reverse the process? Okay, probably something for you to think about. Now, let's go back to the Z. So the whole idea with marketing with database sorters is that instead of having your contacts scattered all over the place, how can you segment them? How can you segment them effectively? Okay, and then from potential to prospect. Okay, that's the next question again. Now, just to test your survival skills. So this would be like a rigorous ICF webinar. So many, I test your kindergarten knowledge, and then I'm going to test your survival skills again. Can you all type in the chat what would make starting a fire really easy? I don't know, a zombie apocalypse could be coming. You may need to start a fire really soon. What would make it easy for you to really start a fire? Yes, Raja, I'll answer that question. I use WordPress. Yeah. A spark, fuel. VG, if you have fuel, but without a spark, you're just going to make the whole thing quite wet. So yeah, and just very smart, dry weather. If you're in the middle of the flood, I think it's going to be very hard for you to start. Matches, yes, kerosene and matches, good. Okay, all of you passed the survival test as well. So we can release COVID-22 right now. Okay, just kidding. Okay, summer in Australia. Okay, Mark, yes. I think Mel, you can probably resonate with that as well. Yes. Yes, if you have, matches, okay, you make the job a lot easier, okay, on top of the other stuff. Okay, so if let's say you realize that you have a lot of potential prospects, but you don't know how to start the sales conversation with them. You know you can help this manager. You know you can help this parent. You know you can help this business owner, but how to start without feeling awkward? So what you need is you need conversation starters. So one of my clients, we have been working together for, this is our second year together, Eric Feng from Singapore. He's a social media strategist. So when I started working with him, we were going through his existing assets. And I realized that he has 40,000 over email databases. And he at that time, he don't send emails out to his list. So I'm like, man, you have such a big database, right? Why not we do something about it? So he's like, I don't know, let's just send a couple of emails and see what happened. So he, and something did happen, and he recorded a really short testimonial for me. Let me see whether I can play it.
Bottom line is, it's working. Like Philip will tell you we have secured quite a number of meetings. Not all meeting leads to sales, but at least we re-establish back that communication with them. The client that was late today from Malaysia, she told me that she texted me in May. For some reason, I did not see her text message. So I missed a sales opportunity that time, and I revisited her, and today we're going to pitch her a few new programs next year. So, wow, it's working. Really, this whole email thing, it does work. Now it's just a matter of signing the dot, how much sales we get. Definitely we could say if let's say we close all this deal, we can easily say whatever money we pay you for even a year, we already make it back with like one deal.
The moment he told me that, I was heartbroken. That was how I knew I've undercharged him. Believe it or not, 2 emails that we sent out got him 250,000 Sing dollars of contract, 2 emails. Wow. So a lot of times, I think Mel quote me because it's from the Bible as well, but because a lot of times we go out to look for the gold, we look for the pearl, but a lot of times the gold and the pearl is in our backyard. Okay, so I think there's a Bible verse on that, I can't remember on that, but the whole idea is that we will go all over the place. We come and listen to this Maverick ex-Buddhist monk, but you could have that gold mine in your very backyard, and that's exactly what I did with Eric. So I basically just go through the data, and we only sent 2 emails to 50 people. Started off a few chain reactions and a $250,000 contract, just like that. Okay, it didn't fall from the sky. It was literally just, yes, sitting on the gold mine, literally. So a lot of times you just need to ask the right question, and believe it or not, the email had only 9 words or lesser. The 9 words was, do you need a speaker for next year's conference? That's it. Sign off, Eric. 9 words. That's why sometimes they say, Maverick, you are the one of the most expensive copywriter to write 9 words only. But you cannot just count from the 9 words. It's the strategic use of the 9 words. Hey, Nike's Just Do It cost them $1 million. Okay, and that's 3 words. That's even more expensive than mine. So yeah. So start thinking of what you currently already have, because we always take it for granted. Like our wives, our husbands, our girlfriends, we take them for granted all the time. Okay, so we need to start thinking of all the relationships that you have built in the past. What is something that you can start the fire with? So maybe shoot a video to perhaps start the sales conversation.
Bottom line is
here, how do you move them from being indifferent to be interested? Indifferent means that I have your phone number, you have my phone number for the last 8 years, but I didn't talk to you and you didn't talk to me. How can I get the conversation started to move from indifferent to interested? Mel, maybe something you can share on this as well, because I know you have started so many conversations on LinkedIn itself. So perhaps maybe you can share some experience or even some success stories on your side.
Now, I wrote this down, Mav. Start with what you already have. It's just so powerful. I'm just going to go to bed with that one.
Please go to bed with your wife and not my voice in your head. But it's okay. Audrey will love having my voice. Okay, separate conversation.
It's just mind blowing. As I say, every time I'm with Mav, I learn something, and I'm going to apply that tomorrow already. I'm going to go and ask myself over the last 18 years now as a coach, how does the client choose Mel? You know, I've never stopped to think that. I remember seeing, was it you, Joseph? One of you wrote up there in the many chats that we've done already that I do 100% referral. I used to say that, and I now regretfully say that because I've been so arrogantly saying that those many years. Those years, earlier years, it was a benefit to be a coach. Let me just say this, because I was one of the few younger coaches that was coming out. But today, if you want to say that, I think for myself, I've already reached that pinnacle of being MCC. But now I'm actually regretting that I've not done enough work in the last 18 years to build up my database and my connection points, like what Mav is saying. I'm just telling all of you the truth. It's not too late, because John Maxwell, I think, is 77 years old, and he still gets on the video every day. The word is every day. Every day, John is recording something. And to me, he is one of my utmost person I admire, who's still alive, who's 77, who could just be sitting back relaxing, because he's got like 90 books already written. So he can just be relaxing and say, I'm just going to enjoy. No, he is actually still going out there, still doing the same thing, and I think even doing more. So I think my biggest challenge today, even for myself, is Mel, wake up. 18 years is past. Now live in the present. Know where you're what you have right now. It's sitting there. What are you going to do with what you have right now? So that's my challenge to all of us, including myself, is I hope you think through that, because whatever years of coaching you've had, or even in the workplace, you've met enough people and had those trust moments built already. All maybe you and I have to do is to reconnect with those gems. And you've got to find those gems, connecting, obviously, that with your brand as well, and on what you're wanting to promise them. Mav?
Actually, talking about because Mel, I mean, over here we just finished Chinese New Year. Just like I guess a Chinese version of Diwali. And I realized that if you are in your 40s and 50s, okay, this one you don't have to answer in the comment. If you are 40 and 50, you know yourself. You know that idiot friend that you used to have in class. You know that idiot friend who was always bullying you, who made the dumbest jokes. He could be the CEO of a bank today. Your classmate. I think this, whatever reunion dinner, this will probably be a good time for you to reconnect. And you'll be, oh my God, that guy's a class clown and he's already a prime minister. Oh yeah, we already have that, sorry. So that was Najib, long time ago. But you never know where your classmates are already in. Okay, so I think now will be, perhaps when you are young, 25, 30 years old, maybe your friends haven't achieved that much yet because you haven't achieved that much yet. But with the moment you hit 40, 45, 50, you'll be surprised that, wow, that guy also can become GM of a bank. So I think that is where you can start those conversations again. Something to think about. So that's what, that's what Mel's sharing actually triggered that in me as well. Okay, now just the last part before we end today's session. Now, from prospect to clients, I know some of you already got great clients, so I'm just going to make this really short, but I'm just going to give you a simple idea of what goes through your prospect's mind when you're trying to seal the coaching contract. You are literally asking your prospect to cross a bridge, river, water underneath, they may drown and stuff like this. Everything is very shaky. You are literally asking your prospect to go across and you're like, Ken, you can come on, you can come. I got Coach Mel here, you can come over, come. VG is here as well. They still have to take a leap of faith. The reason why your prospects haven't bought from you is not because you may not have a good proposal or anything. It's because you haven't addressed a very important area over here. Now, so this will probably be the most important image that you can take. Remember. Maybe you can start on a new sheet as well. I'll just go through this very quickly because time is running out. Now, a lot of times when we sell our coaching, okay, just think of it like a seesaw. When we sell our coaching, we are always trying to sell the reward. Oh, when you buy this coaching program, you're going to get this. When you get this, when you sign up our leadership coaching with us, your people is going to be better and blah, blah, blah. You sell them the reward. Now, believe it or not, your prospects already know what are the rewards for them. Because if they don't know what rewards they're going to get from your coaching services, you won't even get into the conversation in the first place. The whole reason why you are in the sales conversation with them is because they already know what reward they want. You are just reminding them again, you are nagging them. Oh, Mr. Manu, when you get coaching, you get this up. You're just nagging them and they don't like it. Now, the reason why they are not buying is because you haven't addressed what is their risk. If I sign on this coaching contract with you, PG, if I sign on this coaching contract with you, Natarajan, what if it doesn't work? Okay, is that like a training? Is that like a guarantee? Is that like a workshop? Because, and a lot of times, all this risks, they don't say it out. Because they don't want to, it's something, it's the unsaid. In coaching, there's always what the clients say and what the clients don't say as well. So what are you doing? Yes, what is the cost of not signing the deal, right? Yeah, so you need to start addressing that. Okay, you need to start addressing what are the risks. Now, I don't know what risks your clients are probably thinking, but you need to start putting yourself in your client's shoes. What is probably holding them back? Now, then use those bullet points and make sure you include it in your presentations. Okay, let's say, for example, I'm a consultant. I'll give you a consultant example. Mel, probably you can think of something as well. So like in my case, what I do is that for every client that we sign on, because as a consultant, we promise certain results. Okay, like for example, 90 days, we will get you 100 appointments. Now, if you don't get the 100 appointments, we will continue to work with you for the next 60 days until you achieve that 100 prospects, 100 appointments. Okay, that addresses the risk that my client is probably thinking of. Now, that is a consultant's answer. Mel, do you have an example of how you would address the risk when signing on a client?
Well, one of my clients besides leaders are coaches. So when or potential coaches signing up on programs, right? And we run a coaching school called Catalyst Coach, as you all can see up there in Mav's face. And what happens is they often ask, after they get certified, what happens now? After I've got all these core competencies done, what is the next thing? And we have an alumni, and we have a program with the alumni. And of course, the best part of it is we also have Mav in our corner, so they can come on to our boot camps and our programs on all of the Z marketing, and they have that part answered. So this is just an example, because coaches themselves, when they're training for that certification, the certification is what I'm selling them. I'm not saying that, oh, you're going to be, a certified coach, because that's the reward. But that risk is, when I become a certified coach, where's my clients? Yeah. So that's some part of it that is also answered, and not just the clients, but the community that will support them. So I think these are the two things that often coaches have in their mind as the risk that they're trying to mitigate.
Okay. Yeah. So because each client will probably have their own risk. Mel, you just choose the right word. How do you mitigate the risk? Can someone type in the chat? How can you mitigate the risk for the client? Because your client's going to cross the bridge on what you just say, and you don't even have a physical product. Okay, it's all conceptual. Okay, all the case studies that you show is of the past. Will it work for me or not? So you need to mitigate the risk for the client. Mark, thanks for that. Okay, so the last part is that on this, if you need to if you realize that you are not closing fast enough, or you are not charging the price that you want, is someone talk about how to increase your price, right? You probably need to work on your sales presentations, because the objective here is simple. How can you get them to move from caution to certain? Because they are being cautious, and it's fine. Clients are always prudent. They are always very careful. Those of you who are doing corporate coaching, it's even harder. It's even hard because they got so many things they're answerable to, right? How can you move them from caution to a point of certainty? And one of it is to mitigate the risk for them. Okay, let me just sum it up very quickly. So these 5 things that I just mentioned to you, the brand boosters, the lead generators, the database sorters, the conversation starters, and the sales presentations, this is what we call a bridging asset. Because if you realize that, for example, in Eric's case, I didn't spend time to work on the strangers and the audience and the context with him. I immediately start working with his potentials in his database, and we just start because that was the asset that was missing in his marketing funnel. So imagine if you go back today at home, touch wood, you try to turn on your tap and no water came out. The water is not coming out. Now, it's either you can destroy your whole house just to find which part, just to fix your plumbing system, or get some X-ray device to find out which part of the plumbing system is actually leaking or is actually not working. So that's why we call it a bridging asset. And this Z over here is the Z marketing system. Okay. Now, because I also believe in what Peter Drucker said, father of modern management. Now, I think in the last 90 minutes, you have probably gotten a lot of information, but I can tell you, information is useless unless you implement it. So a lot of times it must help you. Push you into the right direction. So to help you do that, what we have done and what I'm actually offering to you is, there is a QR code that you can scan later, because this is actually a scorecard that we build based on the Z marketing system. By just going through, I think it takes lesser than 5 minutes to answer a couple of questions, you will know which part of your marketing funnel is leaking. Okay, so that's number 1. And once you already know which part of your funnel is leaking, I give you a second thing. I give you a checklist so that you know what are the areas you need to fix. So let's say, for example, you realize that your brand booster is not working. Okay, so at the bottom, under the business owner column, start from the bottom. Maybe you need to start creating a brand message first. Maybe you need to start growing strategic connections first. Okay, so check off one by one So at least it becomes more activity driven. So all you need to do right now is that if you have a phone, you can actually scan this code over here. If not, I'll give you a link. These are totally free resources because I believe a consultant's job is to help you accelerate your results. Okay, so if you know which part of your marketing funnel needs your attention and priority, at least you can spend the next 90 days looking for the right resources to fix that particular area. And at least you can even go to Coach Mel. Hey, Coach Mel, my conversation starters are very bad. Can you tell me what are the top 3 conversation starters that you use? Your questions will become so laser focused that you can actually start seeing results. Instead of trying to fix 101 things that won't move your sales, start fixing things that will actually do. So with that, thank you so much for spending an hour plus. Sorry, we took a bit extra 6 minutes of your time, but I did tell VG that Mel and I are more than happy to answer some of the questions that you have. If you have any questions, you can turn on your mic or you can just bang it into the chat as well. Yes. And if you want to get...
Thank you, Maverick, for such a mesmerizing session. We did not realize the time is already crossed. If it is okay with all the participants, we can spend another 5 minutes asking some questions. Meanwhile, I'll put the closing passcode and the feedback link for people who would like to leave. You can fill the form and you can leave. People who would like to stay back, ask questions, we are there for some more time. Thank you, Mel. I know it's very late in the night for you at Melbourne, but still you are staying with us. Great. Thanks. Thanks a lot for that.
Thank you. Well done,
his
everybody.
eyes are getting squintier and squintier, so you know. Yeah. Okay. Maybe you can answer one question. Sorry, Mel, you were saying.
Go ahead. No, I just wanted to say, thank you for this opportunity, and please let's all give Mav a big hand. Come on, he did most of the work. Come on, well done. Woo! Yes. Question time.
Thank you. Messages can wait for some time. I'm putting the closing passcode. Otherwise, it will get missed in between the thank you messages.
Oh, yeah. And to inspire some of you to ask questions. So one thing my master told me, Bante Mahinda, was that he said that, hey, if you don't ask questions in this life, next life, you're going to be born stupider. So that will motivate. I don't know how true is that, but it's better to ask the questions now so that next life, I think it's a very good investment, and you don't want your next life entity to blame, Maverick, you didn't ask enough questions, that's why I'm born stupid. So yeah, so any questions you have, just pop in the chat. If not, I think usually at the end of these sessions, usually we don't get questions because one, we did a very good job, both Mel and I, good, or we did a really bad job that people don't even know what we're talking about. So it could swing either way.
Vijay, you can take a photograph if it is possible.
Yeah, sure.
Come on video.
Yeah, sure. I will do that.
Took a great photo. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's remove the spotlight first, right? I think.
Yeah, no, I can still get it on gallery view.
Okay. Okay.
No messages for some time, please.
Thank you, Natarajan.
Yeah, there are 2 questions. Let's just take a group photo first, and after that we will. I'll be more than happy to answer both the questions.
Yeah, sure. So, smile twice, folks, because we have 2 screens to cover. And let's give it to Mel and Maverick, and 3 cheers to the M duo who have just mesmerized us today. Let me get one more, please. Thank you so much.
So those of you, if you have to leave, you can leave. We won't hold anything against you. But let me just quickly answer both the questions. Mel, if you have any answers, you can chip in as well. Okay, so I'll take Amanath Hari's question. Can I outsource my marketing and sales? How important is it to do this myself? Now,
good question.
Yeah, it's a very good question. Okay, if you have been doing coaching for a long time, okay, and your products are easy to sell, which means at the moment you just show up and you somehow find that if I just do these 7 to 8 things, I can close the sale. If I just do 9 to 10 things, I can get the prospect to be ready. If you already more or less have tested your product market fit, okay, the keyword over here is product market fit, then hiring a team will make sense. Okay, because if the salesperson comes in and they are having a really hard time selling your coaching program because there's no product market fit, they won't stay. Okay, it'll be frustrating to you, it'll be frustrating to them as well. Okay, now what you can do instead is that you still do the sales closing, Amana, but you get someone to start more appointments for you. Okay, so someone who do the social media posting for you, and then after that, maybe every Thursday you ask, hey, I'm doing a little mastermind with a couple of CEOs this Thursday. Let me know if you want to join. Then someone will comment, and then that sales support person can actually do the task for you. Okay, so that's one part that I will outsource, and I wouldn't mind outsource, but I think until your closing is like 60 or 70%. Okay, and don't forget, you have years of experience. Your new salesperson may not. So I would think it's much better once you iron down the product market fit, then you hire. Okay, Mel, you have more sales and marketing team building experience as well. What are your thoughts on it?
I'll just start with asking yourself, who is your ideal customer? Number one, focus on that one. Don't have to be a big number. And then ask yourself, if you were them, what would you want to receive, right? And therefore, there's an exchange and the building of the trust. And then I would say, because coaching is so personalized, they've got to see you in some sort of action. Either they see it in those mediums that Mav talked about, or they have to see you face to face. Face to face doesn't mean face to face. It could be Zoom. So they have to see you in flesh. They have to listen to you, listen to what you say. Your values, connect with them. You know, we have to do all of that. So in their mind, it's like, as what Mark was saying, the mitigate, right? You're just removing those X's into pluses in people's minds. And I think once again, there's a sales timeline. Don't expect things to just happen the following month. Often there is a cycle to go. Sometimes in corporate, there is the financial or the yearly, cycle, and they have to follow those cycles. Yeah. So you have to understand the cycles that your customers are going through and be there before they make a decision often and not after. If not, you have to wait one more year. So that's some of the different thoughts I have.
Okay, good. Thank you, Mel. And the last question from Chandra Sekar. And I know these two persons will be born a lot smarter in the next life. Okay, just kidding. What is the timeline approximation? Now, so Chandrasekhar, because the truth is that it really depends on what products that you are selling, because some products will have a longer sales cycle, but a good gauge would be, remember just now we talked about the Z-mod, the four locations, 7 interactions, 11 interactions, 7 hours of interaction. Now, how can you engineer the process so that you can basically get a stranger to go through the hoops, to go through the 4 locations, to go through the 11 touch points and the 7 hours of interaction? The faster you can accumulate all that, it's going to make your process a lot easier. Okay, I can't say that within the next 7 hours you will close another client, but how can you engineer a process where a stranger, the moment they come into your world, will jump through a couple of hoops, and by the end of the map, they will have accumulated the 7 hours of interaction, which makes it a lot easier for you to start the sales conversation because the trust level is already there. Mel, would you have a question? I know corporate, the sales cycle is really long as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'll come back to referrals, right? Sometimes you've got to start somewhere. And for me, my whole coaching journey started because of a referral from a good buddy of mine who brought me into the room with a CEO of a bank. And Matt mentioned about the CEO. This really happened for me. But we can't just wait for things to happen. I had to do my bit. And the my bit part was, when I was coming back to Malaysia from Melbourne at one point in time, I asked a very good friend, I say, who is just one person you could introduce to me who has this potential challenges? So I started with the challenges, right? So he will be like, oh, okay, I think this particular guy may have these challenges right now. I've been talking to him, and then he could really just dive deep into that particular area. So I started with that, and then that continued, and then just moved on. But I think that the important lesson today is you've got to start somewhere. I mean, if you don't have a social, if I put your name in onto LinkedIn, onto the web or whatever, and I only find just your representation in let's say ICF Chennai, that's not good enough, to be frank with you. Okay, so it's also about building. You've got to take time, take stock, and not also be in everywhere. Suddenly you start dancing on TikTok. I mean, I'm not on TikTok because I don't think my clients are on TikTok, right? I will be on the places that my clients would also want to be, and I want to be on. I've got to come back to me, because I'm not going to do certain jumping of hoops. As Mav said, I will not do this thing. I will choose which one strategically to focus on. And so this is the thing. We've all got to be very, very strategic and to find that thing, but we have to start doing it today. That's it from me.
Hey, thanks for that. So, hey, thanks for all the questions, and sorry we took up too much time as well.
Namaste.
But please, the last, if I can just part a message with all of you, it would be this: information is useless. It doesn't make you rich. If information can make you rich, the librarian is probably the richest person on the planet, not Jeff Bezos, not Mark Zuckerberg. So I think it's all in the implementation. So to keep all of you accountable, it would be great if you write down what is one action that you want to take after tonight's sharing by Mel and myself, and don't send it to me, send it to VG. She'll be the one keeping you accountable.
Wow.
You light the ass on fire. Right? So, yes. With that, hey, back to you, VG, and also Natarajan as well, to do a quick.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Raj, over to you, Raj.
Thank you, Natarajan. Thanks, Mel and Maverick. Completely. I love M&Ms, and I can only say the session was just magical moments, mastery, marketing. Absolutely mine. I have 2 pages of notes that I need to transcribe now. Not actions yet, Maverick, but I think you could give Tom Cruise a run from his money anytime. I love the Z marketing model. I think there's so much to take away. Love the way that you took us through the Z model, and then you promised 1 takeaway. I think I have at least 10. Thank you for a wonderful evening. I hope to stay connected. And thank you to all of us who joined. We must tell you that it's very rare to have, over 50 people staying on good almost half an hour after the end, but that's just a testimony to the richness of your session. Thank you for sharing your time and insights with us.
Thank you. Good night, everybody. Take care.
Good night.
Take care. All the best.
Bless you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.